Good evening. Regent Dean Johnson, welcome. Dean Crouch, other leaders of our university and the College of Science and Engineering, distinguished faculty, family members, friends, welcome. And of course, to the graduates, congratulations. We're so proud of you. And Alex, you illustrated today one of the most important things that a commencement speaker needs to know. Never follow the student speaker. What an excellent job. Thank you. Now, as the Dean mentioned, 32 years ago, I walked in your shoes. So if they're out of style, it's my fault. Seriously, I was graduating from the University of Minnesota with a PhD in chemical engineering from this very college, which was then known as the Institute of Technology, or IT. And back then, probably like you today, if someone had asked, I would have honestly answered that in that day I was living at the intersections of pride and fear, the intersection of happiness and uncertainty, and of ambition and apprehension. I wondered whether this degree was my ticket to fame and fortune, or just a stop on the way to that awkward question, Mom, can I move back in? I did learn at least one very important lesson in my time as a student here, and it was, to use a technical term, stuff happens. Generally, it's good stuff. When I first arrived in Minneapolis as a fresh-faced PhD student, my aspiration was to be the youngest senior vice president at Exxon. I was going to be a captain of industry. But one day, in my third year of PhD work, my advisor and the head of the chemical engineering department at that time, Ted Davis, a great guy, came to my office. And you will learn that when your boss comes to your office, it's either really, really good or really, really bad. This was good. He explained that he had somehow come up short with instructors for a class called process control, and he needed somebody to teach that class. Now, if you're an engineering graduate, you know what process control is. If you don't, it doesn't really matter. Because I asked Ted the most important question a graduate student would ask under those situations, which was, how much does it pay? And in fact, it paid more than the research assistantship that I had. So I said, sure, I'll do it. Now, what I did not tell him and what he did not ask was that, although an undergraduate degree at Caltech in chemical engineering was pretty good, it did not feature a class in process control. So not only had I never taught a controls class, I had never actually taken a controls class. It just didn't seem the time to mention that to Ted, since he was so happy that he'd filled his teaching roster. But it was no problem. I learned it, I taught it, and it was wonderful. I had a great connection and resonance with the students, and they seemed to have suffered no permanent harm. Teaching that course changed the course of my life. And as far as I can tell, Exxon has done just fine without me. I became the professor I never expected to be. So as you sit here in your shoes, understand that sometimes life finds you. And when it does, it catapults you in directions you never imagined, to places you never expected. Now, there is sometimes some comments in the press from critics that question the value of a college education these days. They are wrong. No one can devalue the work that you put in and the passion you brought to it. Nobody can argue the hard facts about graduates of this great college that speak to value. Just look at last year's CSE outgoing class. More than 94% of them had jobs or were in graduate school 6 months after graduation. And as usual, like you, about 5% were traveling or taking a year off for other opportunities. That adds up to mean that nearly everyone had landed nicely on their feet. And then there's an agency called the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Don't tell people in other colleges about this. But according to federal data, last year the top 13 occupations with the highest starting salaries were for those with bachelor's degrees in science, technology, engineering, or math fields. Now, I know you're probably not going to get the dream job you want tomorrow. But your hard work in getting here this day and what you produce for society and your community will be rewarded, personally and by society. Come to think of it, you probably won't have to move back home. Your degree is a personal achievement, but more importantly, like this public research university, your degree, your knowledge, and your potential is very much a public good. Now, those weren't things that I was thinking very much about 32 years ago, but it is something that I think about now and will continue to think about for the next 32 years to 2046 when I'll turn 90 years old. And that got me to thinking about what that 90-year-old might write back to that freshly minted PhD in 1982. Here's some examples of what I might write. Dear Eric, as you embark on your career, find the path that is right for you, not for your parents to brag or your friends to impress, not simply to boost your ego, but to do work that changes your community and the world for the better. And if you're lucky, very lucky, you will also find a loving partner to do that with. Don't travel this life alone. Or I might write, Dear Eric, be graceful. From time to time, there's a chance you will fail, but gracefully pick yourself up and learn from your missteps. I guarantee you that the work and actions that will trigger the fewest regrets are those for which you took the biggest risks. Or I might write, Dear Eric, stop worrying. Celebrate this great day of achievement. You've graduated. Your parents, your friends, your partners, they are so proud. So graduates, in the years to come, create your own authentic personal story. Fill it with great surprises. And know already on this day, each of you owns a story of abundant success. One other thing I know never in history has there been a graduation after which somebody said, boy, I wish that guy had talked longer. Congratulations and Godspeed.
President Kaler, thank you for those inspiring words. Please accept this small gift as a token of our appreciation. We are now ready for tonight's main order of business, the presentation of the graduates. As a reminder, our graduating seniors will be honored for their accomplishments, but they do not officially have degrees until the end of the ceremony when they are conferred by a member of the Board of Regents.
Dushant Mehra.
Although our graduating seniors have now been honored for their accomplishments, they do not officially have degrees. Only the Board of Regents has the authority to confer degrees. Please welcome the Honorable Dean Johnson of the University's Board of Regents.
On behalf of my colleagues, the Board of Regents, we congratulate each of you. President Kaler and faculty members, we want to thank you for being here at the University of Minnesota. Let's give our faculty and president another round of applause. Graduates, now is your time. Will you please stand? Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority of the Regents, I now confer upon you the degrees for which you have qualified. Congratulations, you're a graduate of the University of Minnesota.
Thank you, Regent Johnson, and congratulations to the College of Science and Engineering class of 2014. We conclude with the singing of the Minnesota Rouser, after which I ask the audience to be seated until the procession of platform participants has left the stage. We offer all you new graduates our best wishes as you begin a new phase in your lives. Thank you.
Minnesota, Minnesota.